This is pathetic. I never asked for your help before, and I sure as hell don't want it now.
She really hates me. So tell me, why did you join the Band of the Hawk in the first place? I'd imagine that war must be pretty rough on a woman. Not that it's any of my business, of course.
Griffith.
Huh?
Because of Griffith. I was born in a small farming village deep in the mountains. The land was barren, and the crops were meager. Frequently, we would eat nothing for 3 days at a time. Each winter, many villagers died of hunger. Because we were along the border, the village itself was often involved in skirmishes. We were forced to watch as they trampled our houses and destroyed our fields, powerless to protest. Then, one day, a nobleman passed through our village, and it happened that I caught his eye. The nobleman offered to take me in as his servant. At first, my father hesitated, but later he accepted the offer. I understood why my father would give me, his youngest daughter, to this noble, and I accepted it. A young girl was of little use to the family, and food would go further with less mouths to feed. However... Looking back, I should have expected it. It seems so obvious to me now. It was absurd to think a nobleman would take the trouble to save a girl from a poor family out of pure kindness. Just a daydream of a naive mind. There is no choice. This is just the way things are. Thoughts like these help me deal with reality.
Do you think somehow you've been chosen by God just because you're a nobleman?
It was like a moment in a dream, unreal and divine. In his mercy, God had sent me a savior, an angel to defend me. And for a moment, that's what I honestly believed. But what the angel offered me was not the salvation I expected.
If you have something to protect, then take up the sword.
I was terrified. I don't know if he fell on the sword, or if I stabbed him. Either way, I had killed a man. The stranger just looked at me knowingly and smiled. It was then that I fully understood the true depth of the lesson that I'd been given. Don't go! Please wait! What should I do now?
Do as you wish.
Please, I want to go with you!
No way. What do you take us for? We're not a band of thieves. We are collecting money and supplies so that we can raise an army. We can't be dragging women and kids along for the ride.
You won't have to! If you teach me how to use a sword, then I'll fight. I beg you.
I think she's actually serious.
Even if it means your death. As I said before, you're free to do as you wish. You must choose which path to take, now that you know what it means to fight.
It was so little. A sword and a blanket is all that he gave me. But because of that one day, my life had been altered. Instead of waiting and enduring, I now fought for what I wanted. From then on, I absolutely worshipped him. Somehow, I managed to make myself a soldier. By then, the Hawks had become involved in a territorial dispute led by a certain local nobleman. We saw many battles after that day. A young boy had joined us as a soldier.
He so badly wanted to be a knight. I remember this boy well. When he looked at me, his eyes filled with wonder, as though I were a hero. Was he happy, I wonder? He died while pursuing his dream. But I think it was my dream that killed him.
I've never seen a proud man's shoulders sink so low. Before that day, I had never seen Griffith depressed. I want to be by his side during every last moment. If he dedicates himself entirely to his dream, if he has to fight to forge his dream, then I want to be a sword for him. His strength during battle. I want to play that important role in the fulfillment of his dream. And once I believed that my wish would be granted. But then, you arrived. Do you even remember what he said that day on the hilltop when Griffith asked you to join us?
I want you to join us, Guts.
The way he spoke, he had never given such high praises to anyone. I was overcome with envy that day. He barely knew you, and yet he held you in such regard. I despised you. I tried to convince myself that Griffith wanted you solely for the strength you would add to the Hawks. But I see the way Griffith treats you differently. He becomes unnerved if you're in danger and acts impulsively, as if... Griffith puts his faith in you, but you can't appreciate the implications that has. And I'll never forget that because of you, because of your recklessness and your selfishness, Griffith was nearly killed! I don't care if you drop dead in the field somewhere, but if you compromise Griffith's dream, if you ruin that, I will never forgive you. Do you hear me? I can't forgive you for making Griffith change like he has. Why you? Why did he choose you of all people? Why you?
And like you said, maybe all I want to do is just swing my sword at others. Besides, you're different, aren't you? Do you really want to die in a place like this? Would you choose a meaningless place like this to be your grave? Is that dream in your heart so dead already? Every sword belongs in its sheath. Go back to the sheath your master holds. Go back. Back to Griffith. What is it?
Don't you think you should be asleep?
I can't sleep down there because my body feels like it's on fire. But at least up here, it's not quite so hot. I can rest. You know, there's no need for you to worry yourself. It was for my own sake that I did all that. It wasn't for you in particular. It's just my nature. I'd rather fight with my sword than run away, that's all.
So that's the only reason? You fought 100 men because It's not in your nature to run away.
Yeah, pretty much. But to tell you the truth, there was something I just couldn't get out of my head. Compared to what you're trying to do, me fighting 100 men means nothing. It has no purpose. I'm not talking about just you. I mean Griffith also. The two of you have something important that you can stake your lives on. I think it's great. I truly mean that. Compared to the strength of that purpose, whether I face 100 men in battle or even 1,000 seems like nothing but a random act.
Guts,
Some view, huh?
Huh?
Gaston doesn't think he's very suited for army life. His intention is to start a tailoring business with the money he's earned when this war is over. He's very good with his hands, though he may not look it. Nicole had proposed to a woman who refused him once. Apparently she didn't want to marry a common soldier, so he declared that he would get promoted as soon as possible so he could ask her again. That's why he tends to be reckless and overextends himself in battle. It seems to me that everybody stakes their lives in a lost cause. Looking over them all from up here, I almost think I can see their hopes and dreams flickering in each little light.
like a bonfire of dreams.
Well, that was beautiful. You sounded like the princess talking.
Don't say that. But I understand. It's like each one of them has his own little light or a small flame that he brings to the Band of the Hawk.
Yeah. And to ensure that those weaker flames don't go out, each man casts his own into the strongest fire of them all. A raging fire. That is Griffith. But my light isn't to be seen among them. Still, after all this time, it seems that I'm just someone who stopped to warm himself at the bonfire in passing.
Guts.
So long as I have my sword to fight with, I'm sure to survive. Year after year, I prove it to be true. Before joining the Hawks, I always survived. No matter the odds, no matter how hopeless a losing battle. This time was no different. In truth, I don't believe that's any way to live one's life. I've been fighting in battles for as long as I can remember. The mercenary leader who raised me taught me nothing except how to wield a sword. I've never had anything except my sword. I don't want to die. For me, that is the only reason I keep fighting. There is nothing to save myself for or give myself to. I fight because I know nothing else. Once I was willing to do just that, to commit myself to fighting, and let anyone else find a reason for me.
Guts.
Anyway, I imagine this all sounds pretty dumb. I'm sorry I brought it up. I'm not even sure why I did. It's pretty pathetic.
So am I. Guts, you're not thinking of... Are you thinking of leaving the Hawks?